Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding Mountain. And today I'm going to talk to you about a couple subjects while I do a few sets of inclines. And yeah, we'll see what comes up. We'll see what comes up. But one thing I want to say is that the bane of you finding out what works, the bane or the biggest obstacle of you finding out what really works for you is overthinking. Right? Because overthinking causes you to get lost in the realm of comparison. And when you're comparing this to comparing to that, and this study and that study, and this one buddy that does this and this other buddy that does that, you're so busy with these thoughts, right? And this story going on in your head that most often, because of all this noise in your mind, you're not paying attention to what's really experienced in the body in that moment. And so I think the advantage of the old school bodybuilders back in the day is they didn't have so much external influence of information. They didn't have so much information. They were the test pilots, right? They were encouraged to test theories out and experience them. And through this deeper connection with experience, instead of an over-influence of information that was coming from all different sources, they had time to experience, and the experience became the biggest teacher, and the information became more a influencer of what to try, but not the primary doctrine by which they lived, right? That's why a lot of the old school guys would have different techniques. Like one old school guy would say, this is the best workout way, and then another one would say, no, high volume's the best workout way, because they would find out what works best for their own bodies. And through experience, this would become reinforced, and then they would keep on retesting their theories or hypotheses, whatever is the correct word. And basically through this interaction with experience constantly, they would find out what the truth was. So in this day and age, we got people that are beginners, they get over-influenced by so much different information, most of it contradictory. And then of course they think they're going with the science, not realizing science is always negotiable. I mean, it's always changing depending on what study was done what and what part of a study a person chooses to cherry pick in order to reinforce their thoughts and ideas. And so the thing is that the studies are not going to free you. The information from everybody else is not going to free you and not going to deepen your own experience. So remember, overthinking is the biggest way to paralyze yourself. And I'm just going to say, return back to simplicity. Return back to simplicity, getting stronger safely, using a range of motion that is safe, that keeps the tension on the muscles, will give you results, assuming that you're sleeping and you're eating, right? And once you return back to that simplicity and build upon that foundation, you're going to find the little refined details that you need to change or adjust in order for you to get the best possible results for your body type, right? Or your constitution. So that's really what I want to start with today, is that single message. Okay, let's do a set. So a mistake some people make is that they find a workout program that works and then they stick with it even when that workout program starts to not work, or starts to, let's just say you start to lose your enthusiasm around that type of training. And perhaps you might be making some gains or you have some good results. But if, the mistake I made anyway back in the day was that I would stick with what worked so much so that I would be afraid to try something new. But one thing I recommend for everybody is to try all sorts of different training methods. You know, try the bro split, try the whole body workout, try the 2-day split, you know. And I have a bunch of them on my website, these different types of programs. The reason why is because there are, let's just say, different flavors that thread through each type of training. And depending on what is your weak link at the time will depend on what you get the most results from. So a lot of times people get into this sort of scenario where they're speaking about what is the best training program for natural bodybuilders. You know, this is the best training or that's the best training. And a lot of times when people start speaking like this, it's because they're trying to brand themselves and sell that product that is in alignment with whatever philosophy they're saying. But what I will say is that I've seen people get great results from different ways of training. And just because they get great results from different ways of training, it doesn't mean that they're somehow deviants or weird or genetic mutations. Sometimes it's because that is the best way to train for them. Sometimes, although there are general truths we can cling to when it comes to training, some people will do better with different types of workout programs or different types of volume or different amounts of intensity or different training splits, such as they only train the body part once every 4 or 5 days. You know, so only through you getting more associated with your own body and familiar with what it responds to and what it doesn't respond to, will you know what the best training program is. And a great way for you to get to know your body is to do different things with it and see what happens. So don't get too fixated on being perfect, right? And I guess this is really my point, is an obsession with perfection will prevent evolution. Because you'll be so afraid to make a change that you will deny yourself the possibility or the opportunity to learn something new about your physicality. So as long as trying something new is safe, like it's not like a dangerous sort of thing. I'm not saying to jump off a cliff to see what happens, you know. But as long as it's in alignment with, you know, safety within reason for your body, I would say definitely try different things. Try different splits, try different amounts of volume, try different, you know, rep ranges and so forth. And you will start to see what is efficient for gaining muscle and what is, let's just say, not a waste of time, but almost exploiting weaknesses just for the sake of exploiting weaknesses, but not necessarily stimulating muscular growth and overall systemic growth of the body. So it's fine to train your earlobes here and there, but if all you do is train your earlobes, you're not going to get the benefit of the larger muscle groups, right? That's really what I'm saying. So yeah, let's do another set here. And yeah, what else will I say? You never know, right? Kind of exciting. These videos are so exciting. I can see that you're so excited. It's like fantastic what's coming out right now. It's like I'm channeling something. It's like I'm channeling. Mountain. So yeah, if you haven't found the perfect workout program yet, don't worry, you never will. You know, it's a constant refinement. It's a constant evolution. You're constantly evolving what is the best workout program. And at the same time, your body's changing all the time too. So different variables will be more important at certain times than others. And honestly, I think that most people are only going to be able to give you ideas about what's the right thing. They're not going to be able to tell you, okay, this is set in stone based on that study, this study. You know, they're going to have ideas, but in the end, it's up to you to figure out, based on how your body's responding, what variables to adjust. And you see this in the interviews with high-level natural bodybuilders. You always see that there's certain parts of their training that are almost outside the norm. And they found that to be really effective for them in order to gain muscle and lose body fat and so forth. And a lot of times they may have certain truths that thread through their training, right? But there's going to be certain areas where they really found that sweet spot as far as how their body responds to certain types of tension, range of motion, or volume, intensity, or the way they split up their body parts in a workout, right? So it's one of the things that makes this whole journey pretty fun, because you're constantly experimenting. So today I did some walking lunges, I did some lateral raises, I did some shoulder presses, I did some rotator cuff exercises. Then I went into some incline presses, and now I'm going to do some calves and maybe some bicep curls, right? But I play around all the time. I don't have something set in stone. It's more about what does my body need? You know, you can almost feel like certain areas are deflated, right? Or certain areas of the body need to have more blood flow. And I respond to it that way. And you'll start to get really tuned in where you'll see, for instance, like sometimes you'll see that your body just needs rest. So the last few days, I really took it easy on the working out, and I cut my food down. I didn't really eat that much. I just basically took a break for 2 or 3 days because it felt like my body was going inward somehow, almost like a hibernation. And then today it felt like the right thing to train again. And that's something that you'll become more in tune with as you go along in your natural bodybuilding journey, if you focus on paying attention continually. That's the most important part. So yeah, don't get lost in the details. Don't overthink this process too much. Over-experience it. That's what I'm going to say. If you're going to overdo something, over-experience the body and how it's responding. And that's going to help you far more than listening to people tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, right? So yeah, I hope this video helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgalantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.